नमः पार्वती पतये गोविंद नाम संकीर्तनम.
Namaste everyone. So we'll start the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam session. So I'm once again very happy to see you all here to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll start with an invocation. Om Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chadurbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantayem Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Guruve Sarva Lokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nidhiye Sarva Vidhyanam Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Janmadhyasya Yato Anvayati Tarataschaarteshu Abhignah Swaratam Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Surayah Tejo Vari Mridham Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisham Damna Svena Sadhana Rasta Guhakam Satyam Param Dhimahim Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramahananda Madhavam தென்னாடுடைய பெரியவா போற்றி எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி சர்வஜ்ஞா சர்வவியாபி பெரியவா சரணம் மாயப் பிறப்பர்க்கும் மகா பெரியவா அடி போற்றி. So in the last session we have seen that about Kapila Devahuti Samvadam. Actually in Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, that itself removes the great fear about our life, fear about our future. It removes all our greatest fear. That is how Srimad Bhagavatam's, the punyam or the palan of Bhagavatam is like that. So there is no death if one continuously, thinks about Bhagavan's glory, about Paramatma's glory. So thus previously in Kapila Avataram, Devahuti becomes a river and merge with the Bhagavan. So Kapila, a 5-year-old boy, he is only 5-year-old boy, and who is the son of Devahuti, explains about Atma, to his mother. See, he explains in such a way that his mother can understand. She is only as a layman, like us, isn't it? So he just tells in such a way that, if you stand in front of mom, if you stand in front of a mirror, the shariram, our body looks big. The same shariram, the same body, the subtle body looks very small when you see, in the pupil of the person standing in front of you. See, this is the Sutta Chaitanyam, super conscious. We say about super consciousness. So this exists in everyone. This is how he explains. Kapila explains to Devahuti. So we have seen Swayambhuva Manu begot 3 daughters in his wife Satarupa, and their names are were Ahuti, Devahuti and Prasuti. So we know Ahuti was married to sage Ruchi, and we have also seen about Devahuti, that is Kapila Vasudeva's Charitra. Now about Prasuti. Prasutim Manavim Daksha Upayeme Hajada. See, Manu handed over his daughter Prasuti to the son of Brahma, named Dakshan, who was also one of the progenitors of the living entity. See, we have been seeing how how all the progenies of Manu and how these human beings, all our human existence is happening. So the descendants of Daksha are spread through the 3 worlds. After the 3 daughters, Manu begot 2 sons also. This Priyavardhan and Uttanapadan. Now sugar, Sugar starts with Prasuti's Charitram first, and then he explains about Uttanapada's and Priyavrata's Charitram. See, hearing about all these Manu's Vamsam, gives us a lot of punyam. Elders have told at least a small amount of Manu, Siridalavenum Shallapadatam, like a small amount of the story of Manu has to be told. Wherever, when hearing about Manu's dynasty with faith, will remove all our, sinful actions, whatever we have done so far. So now, Dakshan marries Prasuti. Now Dakshan marries Prasuti and begot 16 beautiful daughters. Out of these 16 beautiful daughters, 13 daughters, the 13 were given in marriage to Dharma. And, and one daughter was given to Agni. And one of the remaining 2 daughters was given in charity to Pitruloka. So the last one was Dakshayani, Dakshan's daughter. Last daughter was Dakshayani. Dakshan doesn't know, where to give this Dakshayani. Now he asked his father Brahma. So his father Brahma now told him to give his hands to Lord Parameshwara, Shiva. But Dakshan doesn't like this alliance. And he doesn't want to give his beautiful daughter Dakshayani to Lord Shiva. But there is no other go. On those days, only less population was there. So there is no other go. So he accepted Shiva's alliance with Dakshayani. See, he was, Dakshan was basically Shiva Dveshi. He doesn't like Shiva. He doesn't like Parameshwara. See, in Bhagavatam, there are a lot of names given. Lot of names in Bhagavatam. You can see a lot of, their progenies' names and everything. Even reading that, even knowing that, gives a lot of punyam. It's said like that. So that we can't say all the names now. But we have to remember. We should try to remember all those things, See, the name of all the 16 girls were given in Bhagavatam. 16 girls of Dakshan. There are so many names. There are so many names we have to keep in mind. But, so many progenies and, so many, dynasties. For example, the names of these 13 daughters of Dakshan who were given to Dharma. First 13 daughters were given to Dharma, isn't it? Yamadharma. Or Shraddha, Maitri, Dhaya, Shanti, Tushti, Pushti, Kriya, Unnati, Buddhi, Medha, Titiksha, Hri, and Murti. See, these 13 daughters, produced a lot of sons. Their names are a lot of sons. And again, see, that's how it was the human, the things are happening. So if you keep on saying all these names, so many names, you'll get confused. So this Murti, last daughter, the Murti, one of the daughter, gave birth to Naranarayana. Naranarayana was born to Murti. So here we will see about only the story of, Dakshayani only. So the girl given to Agni's name is Swaha. That's why we always say Swaha to Agni. Agni's wife's name is Swaha. And the girl given to Pitrulogam is called Swadha. So the 16th daughter whose names is also Sati. The last daughter's name is Sati. Dakshayani's name is also Sati. Was the wife of Lord Shiva. See, Lord Shiva, being the head of all the, all of us, and also all of that mystic yogis, never even constructed a home for his residence. Sati was the daughter of the great king Daksha. So, and because his youngest daughter Sati selected her husband, Lord Shiva, King Daksha was not very much satisfied. He was not satisfied with that alliance, and he was not satisfied with that overall marriage. with her, because therefore whenever she met her father, he unnecessarily chastised her husband, although Lord Shiva is faultless and he is a supreme personality, he is the supreme Lord Parameshwara. Because of this, before attaining the maturity age, mature age, Sati gave up the body, gave up the body given by her father Dakshan, and therefore she could not produce any child. All the other girls, they produced child and their progenies were there, but Sati could not produce any child. At this point, when he was explaining, Sukar was explaining and Maitreya was explaining to Vithura, isn't it? At this point, Vithura inquired, say, why was Dakshan, who was so affectionate towards his daughter, towards his last daughter, so envious to Lord Shiva? Who is the best among the, best among the gentle? So why did he neglect his daughter Sati? So what is the reason? Vithura was asking this question. Now, sage Maitreya says, in a former time, all the sages of the universal creation, that time universal creation was happening. So in the former time, the sages of this universal creation performed a sacrifice. Sacrifice means yajnam, satra yajnam. It's called Satra Yajnam, in which all the great sages, philosophers, demigods and fire gods assembled there with their followers. Everyone was there. Then Dakshan, is the leader of Nava Prajapatihals. They were Nava Prajapatihals and he is the leader. Dakshan was the leader of Nava Prajapatihals. So when he entered the assembly, he was entering the assembly where this yajnam was happening. So the entire assembly, he was so luminous. His body was, lightened like anything, and he was so. And when he entered, the whole assembly was illuminated. So influenced by, personal bodily luster, all the fire gods, demigods, all the participants, gave up their own seat and stood up. Stood in respect to, in respect for Dakshan, because Dakshan is the leader of all the Prajapatis. But Lord Shiva and Brahma was sitting. They were not standing. So, but Dakshan was welcomed by Brahma. Brahma was said to be the head of all these things, isn't it? So the yajnam, when the yajnam was happening, whenever yajnam was happening, the Brahma is said to be the head. So Brahma started welcoming Dakshan, but Dakshan was not angry with Brahma. Dakshan was not angry with Brahma because, Brahma was a father. Brahma is the father of Dakshan, isn't it? So he was not angry with Brahma. But when he entered the assembly, because Brahma was the father of Dakshan, he was not angry, but Dakshan was very much offended, to see Lord Shiva sitting. Lord Shiva is always Shivam. Shiva means, Shivam. Shiva means calm, peace, like, Shivanenu. In Tamil, you can see that Shivanenu means be, summa. Like don't think of anything, don't do anything, like that, you said. That is what Shiva. So Shivan was sitting like that. He doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care about, you are great or you are lower or anything like that. So you're sitting there and not showing any respect to him. At that time, he became, he became greatly angry, and his eyes are all glowing red, and he began to, speak very strongly against him, against Lord Shiva. All sages, brahmanas, and fire gods, everyone was present there. He was speaking. He started to speak. Dakshan started to speak strongly, like, please hear me. I'm speaking about the manners. I'm speaking about the manners of a gentle person. I'm speaking about the manners of the gentle person. And Shiva, He doesn't say Lord Shiva or Paramatma or anything. And he says, Shiva has spoiled the name and fame and has completely polluted the path of the gentle manners. He doesn't know even the smallest manner here. So because he is shameless, and he doesn't know, how to behave. He doesn't know how to behave, how to act in an assembly, and he started to talk, so much ill of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a supreme God who gives, shelter to everyone, and is very, greatly, and is said to be greatly satisfied. Therefore, he is also called Asutoshi. But Dakshan, out of ignorance, started to speak against him, against Lord Shiva. He said, you are only subordinate to me, because as you married my daughter, you are subordinate to me. So he said, he started to talk ill about Lord Shiva. He started to say that you have, eyes like a monkey, and he lives in you always lives in a filthy place, and this Shiva lives in a filthy places like crematorium. And his companies, we all have friends, and we all have societies of large people, VIPs and all, but his companies, whose company he has the companies of ghosts and demons. He was always naked. He doesn't know anything how to dress himself properly. He's always naked like a mad man. Sometimes he will laugh and sometimes he will cry. Is it how he always smears, crematorium ashes all over the body. He doesn't know what to do. So he doesn't bathe regularly. And he ornaments his body. He ornaments his body with a garland of skulls and bones. Therefore, he says, his name is only Shiva. Shiva means auspicious. His name is known as Shiva. Actually, he is the most mad and inauspicious creature. He is daunting like that. He is scolding and he speaks ill about Lord Shiva. But actually, Lord Shiva is so kind. Parameshwara is said to be so kind that he takes charge of persons who are in gross ignorance and whose behavior is lower than that of an animal. That is why he is called auspicious. Shiva, that is called Shiva. Auspicious, is so auspicious. So here Dakshan said, only on the request of my father, this Lord Brahma has spoiled everything. Only on the request of my father, this Lord Brahma, I handed over my last chaste daughter to him, although he is devoid, of all the cleanliness, and his heart is filled with only nasty things. Thus Dakshan, cursed him. And, the demigods are, and he also said, on top of it, this is the yajna is happening. There is yajna happening, sacrifice is happening. So he said only the demigods are eligible to share the oblations, in the oblations of sacrifice. They used to give, oblations to all the demigods, all the gods like Vishnu, Shiva is also included in that. But he says that Lord Shiva, who is the lowest of all the demigods, and he will not get his share. He should not get his share. Dakshan is, is in great anger, cursed Shiva and left the assembly and went back home and went back to his home. He doesn't want to stay there. But, cursing Shiva, cursing Parameshwara. Parameshwara is a supreme Lord, and he gives jnanam to everyone. And hearing this, Nandishwarar was present. Nandikeshwaran was present there. Shiva will always come with Nandikeshwaran, all his followers. So Nandikeshwara, the principal associate of Lord Shiva, upon understanding that Lord Shiva had been cursed, become, greatly angry. His eyes rolled and his eyes became red. And he also cursed Dakshan and all the demigods who were present there, who supported Dakshan. Therefore Nandikeshwara's curse was that anyone who supported Dakshan, would be bereft of the transcendental knowledge, that is the jnana of the soul, Once you get the jnanam, you will know who you are, isn't it? So he cursed that you will not get that transcendental knowledge and thus be deprived of the knowledge of the supreme personality of the Godhead. So thus there were a clash between this, between them. But the yajna will happen. Whatever it is, the yajna, the sacrifice will never, never stop. So what happened is in this manner, the tension between the father-in-law and the son-in-law, see, Dakshan and Lord Shiva continued for considerably a long period. But Dakshan, see, this was happening, and again, one more time, what happened is Dakshan began another yajna. That's the name of the yajna is Vajapeya. It's a supreme yajna. It's a king of all the yajnas. And he wanted to do the yajna in order to show he doesn't want to do this yajna in order to, for the welfare of the society or welfare of the people or anything. He wanted to do that yajna in order to show that he can do this yajna, because I am the Lord, I am supreme, and I can do this yajna. So he can do even the biggest yajna. See, I am able to do the biggest yajna. He then performed another great sacrifice, named Brahaspati Savam. Brahaspati Sava is performing this Brahaspati Sava sacrifice. That is, one should perform this sacrifice Vajapain. After doing this, in the Vedas it is prescribed like that. Before performing the Brahaspati Sava sacrifice, one should do this Vajapain. So in these yajnams, what happened? He neglected to give the share of oblations to Lord Shiva. That is, he ignored him. Dakshan ignored Lord Shiva. See, while this yajna was being performed, many, Brahmins, great sages, and, all the demigods and their wives, all, very well decorated, like very well, dressed up, very well dressed with all the ornaments and all. They attended, from different parts of the universe. Here, Sati is there in Kailasha, she is with Lord Shiva, and Sati is the daughter of Dakshan. She heard the heavenly, denizens, like, aeroplanes, like, flights, heavenly, they're flying all over in the sky, conversing about the great Vajapeya yajna being performed by her father. So when she saw that, from all the directions, the beautiful wives of all the demigods, heavenly denizens, going into the yajna, dressed in the with fine clothing and ornamented, with earrings and necklaces and all lockets and pendants, everything, she approached her husband, and everyone who was going there, and they asked this Sati, hey Sati, why are you not going to your father's place? Your father is performing a great yajna. Aren't you going there? But then suddenly she approached her husband in great anxiety and spoke, oh my dear husband, see how nice she is speaking to her husband. She says that your father-in-law is now, executing great yajnas, and all the demigods, having been invited by him, are going there. If you desire, we may also go. We may also go. See here, Sati, that is the Dakshayani, she knows the tension between her father and her husband. Even though she wished to go, she could not express her willingness directly. And so she told her husband that if he desired to go, then, she could go, accompany him. So she also says that your father-in-law is doing yajna. She doesn't say my father is doing yajna, because if she says that my father is doing something, then he will say that whatever he wants, he will do. Whatever he does, we can't go there. See, Parameshwara never spoke. Parameshwara, I said, I already said that Parameshwara is a Shivam. Like he sits like that. He never spoke. She then said, she was in curiosity, like why this, person is sitting. When I'm saying something, you should respond. Most of the husbands are like that. They will not respond. So she is not responding. Why is he not responding? Then she then said, my sisters are also coming. See, I have got a lot of sisters, 15 sisters I got, and 2 brothers. And I have to go. And she then said, my sisters must have gone there, must have gone to that yajna with their husbands. And, they want to see all the relatives. And, I also desire, I also desire to, dress up myself, decorate myself with ornaments given to me by my father, and I want to go into that assembly. See, it's a woman's nature, to want to, dress up herself and accompany her husband to the social functions, to meet friends, relatives, and enjoy social life also. But Shiva, however, is different. He is different. Shiva is different. So therefore his name is called Shiva. He is completely different. He is not attracted, to all this material enjoyment. He was reluctant. But Sati, as a woman, she wanted to go to her father's place, meet all her sisters and enjoy. So she wanted to meet her mom also. That her mom is there waiting for her. Sisters will be waiting. Everyone is there. And, she doesn't want to go alone also. She doesn't want to go alone. She wanted to show her husband. Everyone, their sisters, her sisters, everyone would have come with their husbands. She said, I also want to attend this yajna. On top of it, she says, now he is not accepting. So she thought that he is not accepting this because, I'm going to my father's place. I wanted to see my husband. I wanted to see my mother and all the sisters and all. But it's not like that. I wanted to see that yajna also. See, the yajna, Vajpayee yajna is considered as a king of all the yajna. So yajna, seeing yajna, attending yajna itself is punyam for us, isn't it? So I wish to see my birthplace. Once more, I want to see my birthplace. So she's all now becoming slowly adamant. Now, Parameshwara, now he smiles and he smilingly asked, why are you so disturbed? Why are you not calm? Why are you so disturbed? So she said, this Dakshayani said, how can the body of her daughter, remain undisturbed when she hears that some festive event is taking place in her father's place or in her father's house? So Parameshwara asked whether you got the invitation. You got the invitation for that? For that, the Devi said, that is Dakshayani said, even though, you said once Shiva has said all the dharmam to his wife. So she's quoting now. She's pointing out now. Devi said, see, even though you may be, considering that I have not been invited, there is no harm if one goes to the house of his friend or a husband's place or his guru's place or father's place without invitation. You have already told me. See, please show kindness, towards me and accept my request. Okay. Now Lord Shiva replied, see, my dear wife, see, it is true. Of course, it's true. We can go to a friend or a father's place without any invitation, but there is no love. See, there has to be somebody to invite us with love. Then only we can go to that place, He's all puffed up with material possession. So it's better not to go. It's better not to go, and you will not be honored. You will not be honored at your house because of your being my wife. So if in spite, you decide to go, neglecting my words, the future will not be good for you. You are not, you are most respectable. You are most respectable. And when you are insulted by your relative, you know, it will immediately be equal to death. Understand? And, decide not to go. Sage Maitreya here said, Lord Shiva was silent. After speaking to Sati, he was silent, seeing, her between decisions. But, but Sati was very anxious that, to see her relatives and, her father's house. But at the same time, she was afraid of Lord Shiva's warning also. Her mind, unsettled. She moved in and out of the room as a, swing moves this way and that. She's like that. She's going and coming back again. She's going. She can't decide now. But Sati, Sati means Dakshayani, doesn't want to ignore her father, ignore her family. So she left her husband, who had given her the half of the body, Ardhanarishwar. He has given half of the body to Sati, due to his affection. Now, Sati, what happened? He, breathing heavily, very heavily, because of anger, and she went out of, she went out to the house of her father. When, Shiva saw Sati leaving, Dakshayani leaving, he arranged a big, battalion of Shiva's disciples along with Nandikeshwarar and big music. She went on a Rishabham. He arranged a Rishabham, bull, that is, for her to go. She sat on the bull and went to the father's place with all such, paraphernalias, and, covered her with a great canopy, followed by a singing party with drums and conch shells and bugles, and, the entire procession was as pompous as a royal parade. It was like that. Even though she was, she ignored her husband and she went. Husband was like that. That is the Bharata Bhumi. So she then reached her father's place, father's house, where the yajna was happening, was being performed, and entered the arena where where everyone was chanting all the Vedas, all the Vedic hymns. So the great sages, Brahmanas and demigods and all the other people, sages, all were all seated there. And when Sati and her followers, reached the arena, none of the people assembled there welcomed her. They were all sitting. Even Dakshan was sitting there. He never even, turned to see Sati. They were all afraid of Dakshan. So they never invited her. But her mother and her sisters, with tears in their eyes, they welcomed her, gave her presents and asked her to sit. But Sati Devi, seeing all these things being insulted, she did not accept anything. She did not accept anything because her father, never talked, never even turned and welcomed her. No, she was noticing there, and she saw that there was no oblations to her husband, given to her husband, Lord Shiva. Next, she even realized that not only did her father, fail to invite Lord Shiva, but she saw Lord Shiva's exalted wife. Daksha did not, receive her either. She became so angry. Now Dakshayani became so angry. She saw him, she saw Dakshan as if she wanted to burn him. She condemned. She immediately stood up. She condemned the process of sacrificial, that is the fruitive activity, and condemned the father, speaking against him in the presence of all. She said, see, you have become Sivadveshi. See, you are very, very ignorant. You don't know anything about Lord Shiva. You don't know anything about Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the most beloved of all the living entities. He had no rivals. Even though you are envious to him, he had no rival, and no one is very dear to him, and no one is is his enemy. You are committing the greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva, whose very name consisting of only 2 letters, 2 syllables, like Shiva. That Shiva, the name itself purifies one of all the sinful activities. Chanting Shiva's name purify all the sinful activities. All the sinful activities will be gone. Chanting Shiva's name. Mahadeva, Mahadeva, Mahadeva. You have to chant this name, often Mahadeva, Mahadeva, Mahadeva. That's a very, very pure name, and chanting that name will give us a lot of strength, and it will also fight our death. It will remove all our fear in our life. That is how it is said. So one of the, she said that his order is never neglected. He's always pure. He's always pure, and no one but yourself, no one but yourself envies him. That is how Lord Shiva is. You are envious to Lord Shiva, who is the friend of all the living entities within the 3 worlds. All the Mahans, all the sages, all the great saints do tapas and get Brahmajnanam from him. And he's said to be a Vishwa Bandhu. He's said to be Vishwadhata. He's the Vishwadhata. And you don't realize the greatness of this Lord because of your envying nature, and because of the material position you have, because of your ego. One can find the whole joy only when he is free from all this material, position. So you can't understand the Supreme Personality, and you have insulted. You have insulted Lord Shiva, and I am his wife. I don't want to get insulted. I don't want to, I don't want my husband to get insulted. Therefore, I shall no longer bear this unworthy body, which has been, received from you, who have blasphemed, Lord Shiva. If, someone has taken, it's like if someone has taken food which is poisonous, then what he will do? The best treatment is to vomit, isn't it? So unfortunately, I have the body, unfortunately, I have the body produced from yours. And I am very much ashamed. I am very much ashamed of your bodily relationship. And I condemn myself, because my body is contaminated by a person and who is an offender of the lotus feet of the Lord. So I shall therefore give it up. I don't want this body. I want to give up this body. The whole body is poisoned. I want to vomit this body. So thus speaking to her father in the arena of, that yajnam, sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground, faced north, dressed in saffron garments. She sanctified herself with water, closed her eyes, and to absorb herself in the mystic yoga process. So Sati, concentrated all her meditations, meditation on the holy feet of her husband, Lord Shiva, who is the spiritual master of the world, and thus she became, completely cleansed of all this, all the taints of all the sin, and quit her body in the blazing fire, in the blazing fire by meditation on the fiery elements, when so she gave her body to this yoga. When Narada told this news, Narada is always the messenger. So Narada told this news that this Lokamata, Dakshayani, destroyed herself in the Yogagni, Parameshwara, became very angry. When Parameshwara becomes angry, he becomes Rudra, isn't it? So Parameshwara, what he does is he created Veerabhadra there, who went along with all the, all the Buddha Ganas, and who went along with all the followers of Shiva, and destroyed this Yajna Salai. He completely destroyed. He, was sage like Brigu, he laughed, he broke the teeth. Veerabhadra, and he took off Daksha's head. He pulled Daksha's head. He took off the Daksha's head. Then what happened is, with a great compassion, he got the goat's head. Dakshan got the goat's head, and the Sakshat Narayan, Sakshat Vishnu Bhagavan, he appeared there, and he said, see, Dakshan, Daksha, only ignorant people see Shiva, Brahma, Narayana, that is Vishnu, differently. Jnanis, or the learned ones, learned people knew that Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma are same, one and same. So he advised Dakshan. Narayana here, he advised Dakshan, and Dakshan became Shiva Bhaktan. Thereafter, Dakshan became the Shiva Bhaktan. And then Dakshayani, who left her body, took birth as Parvati to Mena. And through Saptarishi Dwara married Parameshwara, and got Vinayakar and Skandan as their children. So this is a beautiful Daksha Yajna Charitra. Parameshwara getting married to Sati, that is Parvati. This is a beautiful story told by Maitreya to Vidura. Even this is a Shiva story. It comes under Bhagavatam. So chanting Shiva's name, chanting Rama's name, always gives us, we can't do Yajnam or Yagam or something like that. No, this is a Kali Yugam. And but chanting is so easy. Today we have a satsangam today evening, and I'm going to talk about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu today, but it's in Tamil. But you will know, chanting Ramanamam, chanting Shivanamam or Krishna Namam, it's very, 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 easy. And we can chant at any time. There is no place, there is no restriction, there is no adhikari for that. Chanting is also simple. And if we chant these names, this will always guide us in a proper way. Even though we go in a wrong path, it will change. And we will always go in the very, correct path. And it will help these namams, Ramanamam or Shivanamam or Krishna Namam, it will help us to move in a right path. So we'll close this session today. We'll meet in the next session. So we close this by chanting Purnamadam. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyati Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyati. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all.
Ram Ram.